On Being, Book Summary, Introduction. What if the secret of life isn't written in holy books but in lab notebooks? In this short summary, you'll see how the scientific method, simple steps anyone can follow, gives real answers to the biggest questions. Where we came from, why we're here, and what might happen after we die. I'll show you how science explains why you look like your parents, not frogs, why men have nipples but don't breastfeed, and why old myths don't hold up to facts. You'll also learn how science sped human progress in the last 300 years and why it remains our best tool for finding truth. Stick with me, and by the end you'll be able to spot good explanations from bad ones. Welcome to Religion and Spirituality, English Book Summary, Episode 7. In this episode, we'll explore 2012 published book, On Being. A scientist's exploration of the great questions of existence, written by Peter Atkins. On Being, Book Summary, Chapter 1. What if we use the scientific method to ask why are we here? What if we used it to ask what comes after death? These questions often go to religion, but we can try a different way. We can try science. The scientific method is our best tool. It helps us make testable ideas. Then we check them with experiments and facts. Since the 1600s, this way of thinking has changed the world. In 300 years, science has learned more about life and the universe. It even outpaced what religion learned in 3,000 years. That is a big claim. But the point is clear. Science moves by testing ideas. It does not accept ideas just because someone says so. The author says that science often challenges authority. It asks us to let go of old ideas. Religion often gives one answer. It says a single supernatural cause explains everything. That is a different way to find truth. Some parts of the book say nothing beyond the physical world has been proven. So ideas like God or the human soul do not have objective proof yet. That does not mean people do not find comfort in faith. Belief gives meaning to life for many. It fills a deep need to belong and to understand. But feeling right is not enough for knowledge. True knowledge needs repeated testing. We need ideas that survive new evidence. That is where science helps. So scientists should ask the big questions. They should not avoid life's deepest mysteries. We will explore many of these questions in the following book summary. We will look at the evidence. We will think clearly. And we will keep our minds open to where the facts lead. On Being, Book Summary, Chapter 2. Have you ever wondered if God set the universe in motion? Many people believe that. They say a first cause made everything from nothing. Science does not look for easy answers. Scientists try to find answers in the physical world. They do not reach for the supernatural. There are many scientific ideas about how the universe began. One idea says our universe came from older universes. Maybe it is one link in a long chain of universes. Another idea looks at electric charge. It asks, could the start of charge help create the universe? Some scientists focus on dark matter. Dark matter is mass we cannot see, but it seems to pull on stars and galaxies. If we learn more about dark matter, we may learn more about the start of everything. None of these ideas are proved yet. That is okay. Science moves slowly in small steps. Each step builds on the last. The scientific method asks for tests and new proof. It does not accept a claim without tests. That is why progress can take long. Big questions need many years to answer. They need many scientists and many discoveries. Religion gives quick answers that feel safe. Science asks hard questions and waits for proof. It takes time and it can change its mind. So let us be curious. Let us listen to new ideas. Let us watch the slow, steady work of science. In the next part of this book summary, we will explore more of these ideas. We will look at the clues and the limits of what we know now. On Being, Book Summary, Chapter 3. Have you ever heard the story of Karora, the high god of Australia, making the first man from his armpit? It sounds strange. It shows how people try to explain life. But science has a different path. Science gives a clear, testable story of how life grew on Earth. Charles Darwin gave us one big idea. It is called natural selection. Tiny random changes in DNA happen all the time. Some changes help a creature survive. Some do not. Those that help are passed on. This makes species change, step by step. We see this in fossils. We also see it in our DNA today. There is a part of DNA called junk DNA. It looks like useless bits. But it can change too. Sometimes those changes turn out to be useful. That is how odd things can happen. Like why men have nipples even though they do not breastfeed. We get strange traits from a long history of change. Chemists have tried to build life from non-living matter. They have shown ways that simple chemicals can form the building blocks of life. We do not know the exact scene that started life on Earth, but we do know that natural steps can lead from stone and clay to living cells. This makes the idea of a God breathing life into clay less needed. Science does not say people cannot feel meaning in faith. It only says we do not need to use supernatural claims to explain life. This book shows how science builds its story with proof. It uses fossils, DNA, and lab work. It follows careful tests and slow steps forward. So stay curious. In the next part of the book summary, we will look at fossils, DNA puzzles, and lab experiments. We will see how messy, random change can make something as amazing as life. On Being, Book Summary Chapter 4. Why do we have sex at all? Why not just copy ourselves and stop there? These are strange questions. They are also very important. Science gives clear answers. Francis Crick and James Watson helped us see the how. They showed the shape of DNA. They showed how traits pass from parent to child. DNA is a chain of amino acids. It runs the chemical work in our cells. It sets our hair color, our eye shape, and more. When DNA copies, it makes mistakes. These mistakes can cause disease. They can also make small changes. Those small changes add variety. Variety is useful. It gives a species new options. Some life copies itself exactly. This is asexual reproduction. It works well for simple life, but it makes no new combinations. It leaves no big variety to face change. Humans use sex because our world changes. Sex mixes DNA from two parents. This makes new combos of traits. Some combos help survive new problems. Others do not. The good ones spread over many generations. So sex is not just romance or culture. It is a survival tool. It helps species adapt to shifting climates. It helps fight new diseases. It helps life keep trying new solutions. Science does not need myths to explain this. Old stories like Aphrodite rising from the sea foam of Uranus's semen are colorful. They are part of our past, but they do not explain how DNA works. This book shows how real chemistry and biology give better answers. It uses lab work, DNA study, and careful thought. Stay curious. In this chapter, we will talk about DNA, mistakes in copying, and why mixing genes matters. We will keep the ideas simple, we will look at clear examples, and we will see how sex helped make us and how it keeps us changing. On Being, Book Summary Chapter 5. Have you ever wondered what happens after death? This short part will show the plain physical steps, no myths, just what we can see. At the moment life stops, the body begins to change. First, the body cools down. Our bodies are mostly water. When the water reaches the room temperature, the body gets cold. Next, the muscles change. They relax at first, then they lock up. This stiffening is called rigor mortis. It makes the body hard and stiff for a while. You may also see purple spots on the skin. This is called postmortem lividity. Blood pools in low areas. That makes dark patches. You do not see a soul leaving. You see natural signs. After these steps, the body slowly breaks down. How fast depends on the place. Warm and wet climates speed it up. Cold places slow it down. Plants, bugs, and animals also help the process. Why does this happen? The body can no longer keep its balance. Inside us, many tiny chemical reactions run all the time. These reactions keep us alive. They must stay one step ahead of decay. When they stop, decay wins. Bacteria that lived with us start to feed on the body. They chew and break down tissues. In time, the body returns to the earth. Its energy and matter go back to nature. This view does not touch on beliefs. Many people still believe in life after death. But if you only look at the body, you see rot and reuse by nature. If you found this curious, stay with the video. We will look at more signs. We will learn what they mean. We will keep the facts clear and easy to understand. On Being, Book Summary Chapter 6. Have you ever thought about forever? Long ago, life was hard. Death was near for many people. So the idea of an endless afterlife felt comforting. Many religions promised a life beyond death. That idea brought hope. Today, things are different. Science and medicine push our limits. People live longer than before. We even dream of fixing aging. Maybe one day we will stop dying. But this idea is not the same as a soul rising after death. The soul, as a separate thing, has no proof. There is no evidence for a tiny ghost-like part inside us. Some say consciousness is like dark matter, but the brain makes our thoughts and feelings. When the brain stops, our mind stops too. Consciousness goes with a dead brain. Our planet and the universe likely have an end too. Nothing may last forever. Even if we beat aging, the sun will not last. In about 5 billion years, the sun will change. It will use up the hydrogen in its core. Then it will grow and end our solar system. That fate would wipe out Earth and us. All our science and all the hopes of religions would end then. That may sound sad, but it can also make life clear. If everything is finite, each moment becomes precious. We can choose to care for others now. We can try to make good memories. We can keep learning and helping. This part came from the book's view on life and end. If you like this, stay with the video. We will talk more. We will look at what science says. We will think about what it means for us. On Being, Book Summary Conclusion. Thanks for staying with this book summary of On Being. By the end of this video, you learned the main ideas the book walks us through. We saw that science is brave enough to ask the oldest questions. The book says we can use the scientific method to ask why we are here and what comes after death. We learned that science tests ideas with evidence. It does not accept claims just because someone says so. We met big names and big ideas. Charles Darwin's idea of natural selection shows how life can change step by step. Francis Crick and James Watson showed how DNA carries traits and why mixing genes through sex helps life survive. We looked at experiments that try to build life from simple chemicals. We also saw plain physical facts about what happens when a body dies. And we heard how science looks for clues about how the universe began, from dark matter to ideas about older universes. The book also reminds us that many people find comfort in faith. Belief gives meaning and belonging. But the book's point is simple. Feeling right is not the same as proof. True knowledge needs tests and repeated checks. If this made you think, leave a comment with your question or your favorite part. If you want more clear, simple summaries like this, hit subscribe and like the video. Thanks for watching. Keep asking big questions, stay curious, and let the facts guide where they lead.